Hi and welcome back. If you're new to the channel, my name is Vince. Thanks for stopping by. You're very welcome here indeed. So 2 new studies looking into our daily step count, more importantly the intensity of the steps that we take every day and how those can improve our overall health outcomes. This is a review of a piece that was penned by Carly Casella, in which she looks into 2 separate studies, one posted in JAMA Internal Medicine and the other in JAMA Neurology, that evaluated daily step count intensity and its effect on lowering the risk of dementia, all-cause mortality, cancer and cardiovascular disease. And there are links in the description below to the studies and articles I used to put this presentation together. So, according to this new research, it's not just the number of steps you take in a day that matters. It now appears it's also the pace at which you take your daily steps. In nearly 80,000 adults who wore fitness trackers, one of the largest analyses of this type to date, the researchers found that those who walked at a faster pace also showed signs of improved health outcomes. If you watch this channel for any length of time, you will have seen my reviews of numerous studies that show the arbitrary number of 10,000 steps is just that, an uninformed number that is not based in any way in science. It's a worthy, healthy goal to take 10,000 steps each day. 10,000 is now the go-to number that everyone uses as, for some reason, the gold standard. Much like the phrase, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, neither came from doctors, physical trainers, or nutritionists. The breakfast statement came from a breakfast cereal company, one of the many who now contribute massively to the epidemic of childhood obesity in the world. But where did the 10,000 steps a day statement come from? The 10,000 steps a day statement actually comes from Japan. In the mid-1960s, Japanese marketers were trying to sell a pedometer and they named it Mampokai or Mampokai, which basically translates to 10,000 step meter in English. The Japanese character for 10,000 roughly resembles someone who's walking. So it's a marketing gimmick. Much like the breakfast is the most important meal of the day statement, this statement of 10,000 steps is also not based in science. In recent years, some scientists have tried to test the 10,000 step a day goal to see if this popular health suggestion is actually accurate. Some research, and there's a link in the description below, has found that after about 6,000 steps, the health benefits of daily walking gradually diminish. However, other research, again there's a link in the description below, suggests that every extra step counts, and the more the better, with no limit whatsoever. That said, there's now another factor for you to consider, and that is the speed at which you walk. In 2 new studies, with a total cohort of around 157,000 people, researchers in the United Kingdom have shown strong evidence that a person's walking pace really does matter. Those who regularly walked at a faster pace or with higher intensity at times throughout the day showed a lower risk of dementia, as well as a lower risk of all-cause mortality, cancer and cardiovascular disease, and that was compared to those who walked at a more leisurely pace. In the Dementia Study, researchers found the optimal number for intensity in their participant group was 112 steps per minute, on average for 30 minutes a day, and this 30 minutes did not have to be taken in one session. Emmanuel Stamatakis, a professor of physical activity, lifestyle and population health at the School of Health Sciences at the University of Sydney, said, "Step count is easily understood and widely used by the public to track activity levels thanks to the growing popularity of fitness trackers and apps. But rarely do people think about the pace of their steps. Findings from these studies could inform the first formal step-based physical activity guidelines and help develop public health programs aimed at preventing chronic disease." The results come from 2 population-based studies that took place over 2 years. Each relied on adult participants between the age of 40 and 79. One focused on cancer and cardiovascular disease, while the other focused solely on dementia. 7 years later, these cohorts were checked on again. Both studies are purely observational, which means they can't tell us about cause and effect. That said, these are some of the first and largest studies to analyse walking speed in relation to a person's health outcomes. Similar to previous studies, the findings from both papers here suggest that the more steps a person took in a day, the better it was for their health outcomes. Even better, there doesn't appear to be a minimum number of steps a person needs to take or a minimum pace that they need to set to reap these health rewards. For every 2,000 steps, the authors found a lowered risk of premature death reaching up to 11%. Moving on to the Dementia Study, the sweet spot or the optimal daily count of walking sat at around 9,800 steps. At this threshold, the risk of dementia appeared to be cut in half. Even a slow walker can achieve these results. The researchers say, but fast walkers could give their brains an even bigger health boost. Dr. Matthew Amadi, who studies physical activity at the University of Sydney, said, the size and scope of these studies using wrist-worn trackers makes it the most robust evidence to date, suggesting that 10,000 steps a day is the sweet spot for health benefits, and walking faster is associated with additional benefits. Going forward, more research with longer-term use of trackers will shed more light on the health benefits associated with certain levels of intensity of daily stepping. Well, I hope you found that interesting or informative, hopefully both. And if you're looking to start counting your steps as part of your physical daily regime, I hope you found this helpful too. It's good to see more and more studies coming out now that are discrediting the 10,000 steps a day as the golden rule. In a previous study, one of the doctors who commented on their particular study said that 10,000 steps was actually a bad number because it wasn't based in science and was such a high number that it actually put some people off even starting to exercise. They saw 10,000 as being unachievable, so they decided against starting exercising again, which is obviously a bad thing. I agree with Emmanuel Stamatakis, where he says that there could be a formal step-based physical activity guideline to include speed. And this could run alongside, not necessarily replace, the existing government guidelines that talk about 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise a week or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity per week. So there'd be those two options, but also a recommended daily step count based in science and also the speed that you need to ideally cover those steps. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. As always, please take care, stay safe, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.